Have you noticed that your website traffic has dropped dramatically over the last year? You're not alone. Google has been making some huge changes to its search results layout that's left many businesses, especially dentists, scrambling. We're going to share some things we've been observing with the search results that I haven't seen any other SEOs discussing. We've got data from 4,000 dentist profiles that reveals the real impact. You're going to want to see this.
Yeah, so last year there was a huge change that impacted the dental vertical, but we've actually seen this happen to a bunch of different industries, and Google doesn't really say when they're going to make this change. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. And this change that I'm talking about is a layout change that we see in the search results. See, typically when you search on Google, you get a local pack that shows up, and it has free listings on it with a website button. So users can click the website button and go to the business website. What we saw happen last year was they actually flipped this for dentists. We saw it kind of gradually happen throughout the year. Now I see it for most dental queries. And instead of showing a 3-pack that has website icons, they show this 3-pack here that has images. Now, this impacts like 2 different things. First of all, on desktop, it severely lowers the number of clicks you will get to your website from local pack rankings. So that's something to be aware of. But then also on mobile, it gets rid of your call button. So people that can easily tap the call button and click to call you now have to actually click on the image, then they see your phone number. So it's a lot more work.
That's wild. I'm trying to put myself into Google's shoes here. Why would they do this? From a consumer perspective, I'm having trouble trying to see where this makes sense. Maybe by the time we're done talking about this, we'll come to the conclusion that it does make sense. And one observation, I was just thinking here, Joy, before you go on with this, what probably is also happening when this happens, if somebody clicks on the first result, for instance, in the local pack, right? There's no call button, there's no website link, just a photo. Once you click on the business, I think what happens is it changes the search bar. It changes it to almost like a branded search. And one of the things I've noticed, maybe you've noticed this too, if you look in your GBP insights, going back to maybe around the same time, you often see in the query section more instances of like the business name plus the address. And you're like, why are people searching for the business name plus the address? Do you think that's related to this, where people are like, no website to click, no button, let's click on the brand name. And then that triggers that impression in the GBP insights dashboard?
Yeah, so personally, I think this is stupid. I don't know why Google does this. I mean, I've seen them do it with pest control. I'm like, first of all, who wants to see a picture of a bug in the search results? Like, how is that more useful and helpful than showing me the business's website or phone number? It makes no sense. And I've heard some people that put on their tinfoil hats and they're like, oh, they're doing it to drive more people to ads where, you know, there are click to call buttons. Like, fair point. Maybe that is their objective. I actually have no idea. But I definitely don't think it's a better user experience. And I definitely think it's not better for the business, because what we ended up seeing when we looked at a bunch of these dentists is the amount of clicks to their website dropped substantially with this change. And I was curious because I was only looking at a few, and I was removing all their branded traffic just to see how it impacted searches like, you know, dentist near me, teeth whitening near me, that kind of thing. We definitely saw this drop on various dentists that we looked at. But I was curious if we looked at a ton of listings, if we could see the pattern clearly. So I reached out to Jepto because they have a tool and they integrate with tons of listings, and they pulled data for me across 4,000 dentist listings when this change happened. And you can clearly see in these graphs here, there's a drop in website traffic, but you can also see a drop in calls. Again, these are click to calls. This is every time somebody taps that call button on mobile, it tracks that, and you can go into your Google listing and you can see in that performance section, there's that graph. So if you didn't realize what was going on here, a lot of people could panic and say like, why are my calls going down? In reality, it's like the click to call is going down because it doesn't show up anymore. Like there's no button there, so nobody can click it.
So Google's removing instances of website links showing up next to Google business profiles. Does this mean your website isn't as important as it used to be?
Definitely not. I'm not saying, hey guys, your website doesn't matter, you can leave it alone. We still see that the website is the biggest way to impact rankings on Google. the biggest way to do SEO and make your business rank higher. So you definitely still need a website. Where it really creates a problem is tracking, because obviously you have to track different sources. And personally, I'm a big fan of call tracking. And this is one of the reasons why, because we didn't actually see a drop in calls for some of these dentists when we looked at their call tracking. They're still getting calls. It's just not being reported in this section anymore because that feature is harder to get to.
Yeah, and I think this is why we track multiple places for our clients, include those with our monthly reports, including tools like Jepto, where we can show the clicks, the call trends, etc. And then that way, if something goes wrong, you have good data that you can start as your starting point for troubleshooting whatever the issue is.
Yeah, and I personally don't like this change. I'd love to see what you guys think about it. Do you like these image packs? Do you find them more helpful or useful than, traditionally showing a website or a call button? Tell us in the comments. Tell us if you've seen this in your industry. Hopefully they don't continue to roll this out to more industries, but honestly, I really didn't expect them to do this for dentists. Like, again, who really wants to look at pictures of teeth? I don't know. But I'd love to hear some feedback from what you guys are seeing as well.